Take a deep breath.
We're jumping in.
Because we're jumping into 4 episodes of Drew.
Doctor Who.
Actually, it's Doctor Who, sir.
Yeah.
Oh, I see. With the Sleeping Min. Hi everyone, I'm Chris.
I'm not Chris.
And we are in the next era, sort of. I mean, same showrunner. New Doctor. If you're new to this, you might be a jumping on point for you all. This is a video podcast. We're on screen, but it's more audible, so...
And we're cowboys.
Now we're back. What?
And we're cowboys.
Are we?
You said y'all.
Y'all? Yeah, alright, we're cowboys then. Sorry, that's annoying.
You're right.
Putting him there.
Cowboys.
Alright, we're a cowboy!
Wait.
Hey. We were dreading this a little bit. Because Series 6 was where I started to get a bit iffy with the show. Series 7 was where I didn't know if I loved it as much anymore in its current incarnation. Still love the show because I could go back and watch classic Doctor Who and the older eras of the modern run whenever I wanted on DVD. So I was still a fan of Doctor Who, but Series 7 was where I was like, The Series 8 happened. I definitely kind of fell off a little bit. This was the beginning. In the words of Larry King during that Dan Aykroyd interview where he takes a shot of Crystal Skull vodka, "Ooh, start of the ruination."
Is that what he said?
That's what he says, yeah, because he makes him drink some vodka on the interview and he wasn't prepared to do that.
Hey, apparently it's quite nice.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to be good at something if you spend the rest of your time just being a crackpot about aliens.
I thought you were going to say crackhead. Dan Aykroyd is a crackhead.
Dan Aykroyd is not a crackhead, but he is a bit of a crackpot.
You heard it here, folks.
Oh, God. Did you say you heard it here, folks?
Yes.
Instead of you heard it here first, folks.
Shut up. Shut it.
Amazing. Before we kick off, our little display you might notice is a bit sparse. They're going to get sparser from this point on. Around this time, Series 7 onwards, was when they switched to the 3.75-inch figure line. And a lot of the characters and monsters from Series 8 were only ever released in that scale. And I collected some of them and then sold them because the range died. And it was like, what is the point in having this very niche selection of characters from Series 7 and 8? There's no point to this, so...
No.
Moving the feck on. So we have here a Capaldi, based on the 3 they released to tie in with this series, but closer to the release of Series 9. I only kept 1. I sold the other 2 because they're all basically the same figure of a bored-looking old man. Which is one of the biggest kicks to this era. I know a lot of people didn't with it at the time. Because they were like, well, this is just a grumpy old man now. Like, that's kind of boring. Because they were used to... Most of them probably didn't even remember Eccleston, but like they were used to sort of the youngish, like big hair, zipping around doctors like Tennant and Smith. Yeah. I loved the decision to go for an older actor.
This is Adventure Man.
Adventure Man. But I like the decision that they went for an older actor because it was there to kind of set the status quo in the modern series of, no, seriously, the lead character is not going to follow an exact template every time, and that's part of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, Smith and Tennant's performances are very different, but like on the surface, to Joe Public, it was 2 youngish-looking guys with big hair.
Yeah.
So much so that they give Capaldi short hair in the series, which is a terrible decision, and they let it get steadily bigger over his tenure, and it looks much nicer the more fluffier and out of control it gets. There's also a Dalek here, which is not related to anything, except there is a Dalek episode in this batch we're going to talk about, but we don't have a figure based on that because Rusty the Dalek was in the small range, so deal with it. So for those who are bothered about the display, you're right.
Yeah, I yawned, and then I was gonna do something else, but then I put my hand over my mouth and I stuck my finger in my mouth by accident, and it just made me laugh. Sorry.
Please never apologise for that. That's amazing. Right, so board-faced Capaldi figure, sleeping Doog, and inaccurate Dalek. Welcome us into what's going to be a 4-episode review of the show this time around. We're going to talk about 4 episodes. This show presupposes that you have already seen them, so we won't necessarily be doing like breakdowns or spoiler-free content. We just talk about them.
We chatting about it.
And because there's quite a lot in one episode, we're going to talk about them as quickly as possible. He says after having spent the last 5 minutes talking about toys.
That's it. The end.
Putting fingers in our mouths. Deep breath.
Love that.
Capaldi's debut. From the off, this is one of the worst debut episodes of an era for me. I hate it. That might be extreme, but I really dislike it. And full disclosure, I was involved in the making of it to a very tiny degree. There was a Blue Peter competition where kids... Oh, I love these chocolates very much. Blue Peter candy. Where kids had to design gadgets to be used by Jenny, Vastra and Strax in the episode. It was for Blue Peter, and the judging panel was made up of a few different people, including myself. And it did result in... Oh no! Not the chocolate! It did result in...
Ew.
It's fine. It did result in myself, the producer of Blue Peter, and Nikki Wilson from Doctor Who, and Ed Russell, who was the brand manager of Doctor Who at the time. It resulted in a lot of us going to Stephen Moffat's house.
What was it like?
What?
What was it like?
I got the sense that they'd not long moved in, because there was still like boxes of stuff that needed sorting. Very
Ours
big.
is like that though.
Very big. No, but like cardboard
moved
boxes
it,
sealed by tape. But then, having recently watched With Your Good Self, the Five-ish Doctors reboot, I'm now like, actually...
There's no chocolate on the floor, is
No, there isn't. I was like, actually, this looks like the same house. So I wonder whether or not there's just some stuff in the couple rooms we were in that still needed unpacking or whatever. Or maybe it was deliveries of new things. I don't know. Point is, there are stories I'd love to tell about that, but I'm not going to. The basics are... 3 gadgets were picked, and they feature in this episode. Jenny very briefly uses a thing... I can't remember what Jenny's was. Vastra uses...
Was Jenny's the stick?
The stick?
Wait.
What? The stick? Ah yes, Jenny's famous stick!
Wait. Isn't it like a
Don't worry, Mum, I've got my stick! I can't remember. Vastra's is a hat pin that...
Isn't it a baton or something?
Probably. I'm not trying to diss the kid, I can't remember. And Strax's was like a medical examination thing, like a magnifying glass. Each of those 3 things had different features. I think each of them exhibited one feature in the episode, because here's how it works. Moffat had already written Deep Breath, and then the competition was finished. And I think he was still writing like the final draft by the time we were there at his house filming the conclusion of the competition. And he had to obviously then just put them in it.
Sorry, I can't.
So if at any point during this episode, Vastra, Strax or Jenny use a gadget and you think, that feels like it's totally out of place, it's because it was. They were just like shoehorned in. All the entries were amazing. If you're a kid who entered into it, seriously, you did a great job. All the gadgets were very, very cool. And Nikki Wilson and Ed Russell, certainly out of the judging panel, had a blast going through all the pictures. Can't say that for everyone else. Everyone else was sort of there out of obligation, but the rest of us, out of the rest of them, the 3 of us were having an absolute hoot going through them. There was so much fun. Let's get the positives out of the way really quickly. Despite some weird dialogue for them, it is so nice to spend time with Vastra, Strax, and Jenny again.
Yeah.
This is it now. Unless I'm mistaken, this is it.
Really?
This is the last appearance for these characters. Unless I am mistaken, and I might be mistaken, but I'm pretty sure this is it now.
Really?
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm going to click on Strax to find out for sure.
Oh, I've done my leg the wrong way around.
Oh, not the leg the wrong way. You might want to explain what you mean.
Sorry, I'm making...
Yeah, Deep Breath is the last time they're featured in the show.
What? That's insane.
I've
got the giggles now.
Love the alleyway scene with Capaldi and the homeless fella, the indigent, played by Brian Miller. Barney's called, apparently. I love that sequence. I think that's great. It's proper sort of Doctor has regenerated and is going off on one kind of classic sort of. Do you know what I mean? It's Davison unraveling the scarves. It's Colin thinking Perry's an alien spy. Like it's it's the 11th Doctor spitting out.
Oh no!
Spitting out the bacon and stuff, and like asking for an apple, and do you know what I mean? You're right.
I've got the giggles. I'm
God.
sorry.
But I mean, it's that kind of thing. And I like that it's him being more kind of frightened but angry about it. That seems to be his vibe.
Sorry, I'm so sorry.
In this story, and in a lot of the stories this series, there's a lot of like very subtle dementia parallels. The way that they play off the Doctor's regeneration, it's not quite. They hint that it's not quite right. It's been tough this time, and that you could assume that that's because he was given a new regeneration cycle at the end of, the time of the Doctor. So maybe it's just not quite bedding in properly. So much so that a character like sets that up at the end of the story, but we'll get to that.
Ooh, sorry.
Like.
God's sake. Sorry.
And I do kind of like that because it's very sort of, which gives it some built-in decent drama at the idea of Clara being offset by everything, because it's like, you've got to pull yourself together and be here for your friend.
Yeah.
Like there's some powerful stuff there. I think the T-Rex looks great.
Yeah, it does actually.
I find it kind of fun that they apparently in his mania flew back to the Cretaceous period, got swallowed by a T-Rex, and then dematerialised and took the T-Rex with them. And the T-Rex is now in the Thames, confused. There's some great stuff like that. I love the design of the Clockwork Man, even if unfortunately the episode loves that design too much itself, if that makes any sense. You see way too much of him.
Yeah.
They're very happy with their practical prop and their digital compositing on the actor, that they keep showing it off. And it would be so much more effective if you only really saw him after the ship was discovered. Like you saw him full on after the ship was... You could have gone Phantom of the Opera with it and had like a porcelain mask over one half of his face or something.
For some reason, that's how I remembered it.
And just a shroud even. Just a veil on one side of his face coming from under the hat or something. Yeah. I'm sorry, that's it. We went to see this at the Odeon on its broadcast when they did the simulcast thing, didn't they? 'Cause it was off the high, the fumes of Time of the Doctor and Day of the Doctor.
Yeah.
They were like, we'll put this one in cinemas as well. And they did it. And like... Yeah, you, me, and everyone in that room.
There's just a collective, at the end.
And then we waited 5 minutes, and then there was that live Q&A. I think it was Zoe Ball interviewing Jenna Coleman, Peter Capaldi, and Stephen Moffat.
She wasn't even in it.
Yeah, the Q&A. She
Sorry,
hosted the Q&A.
Sometimes I think I'm funny.
I'm a good friend.
What was that?
She's high on Zappane right now.
The funny thing is, I'm not.
Oh no!
I'm really not.
What do you like about this episode?
Okay, I'm going to go through my notes here.
The
positive ones.
Okay.
Positive ones.
Okay. I was going to say, because these are a mix.
Oh.
You can't find any?
I love Vastra, Strax, and Jenny.
Yep.
Strax's collar is still hilarious. It's what I wrote.
How his like shirt and everything's built around his Sontar and armor
kind of thing. Yeah. Oh my god, it makes me chuckle every time. I like the music. I thought the music.
Yeah, Murray Gold did a really good job with this one.
The music was pretty.
I think this is one of the last times where you can tell he was given the money and the time to score an entire episode.
Yeah, it was very nice. Very good, very nice. Yeah, that's it.
Cool. Should we talk about what we hate?
Yes.
I hate Clara's regeneration hesitation.
Oh.
I absolutely hate...
That's a great sentence.
She suddenly doesn't see him. She doesn't understand that it's the Doctor, and she has like an almost like instinctive reaction of revulsion towards him.
Yeah.
Like she's scared of him and frightened by him. It's like, that's not my friend. When her last story with him, immediately before this, was talking about how he changes his face all the time.
And she's been back in time and seen
the previous story before that.
Bloody hell.
Well, no, to be fair, this Clara didn't meet all the different incarnations in person necessarily.
Yeah, but she went into that thing and saw it all.
She saw that there are them, and in the adventure after that, what did she do? She hung out with 3 incarnations of the character.
Indeed.
And she even has that lovely moment with the War Doctor, which is like, I can tell it's you, but I can tell you're the youngest, it's your eyes, and all this stuff. Like, she gets it. More than most companions, she gets it. But the reason it seems to be there is because Moffat has now decided that it's because she was in love with the 11th Doctor.
Suddenly out of the blue.
Which, now, I wouldn't say out of the blue. They hint at it in Time of the Doctor. And there's little nods to her fancying him a bit in Series 7, which, fair enough, whatever, like, you know.
Okay, so it's... Okay, I'll take that back.
But it's not like... No, but it feels like it, though, doesn't it? Because it's...
It feels a bit shoehorned in.
Yes. And the idea that he also apparently thought of their relationship that way. Which is like, I'm not your boyfriend. She's like, I know you're not. And he's like, I'm not you. It's not you. I'm trying to... Maybe it's not you who thought that. Do you know what I mean? And it's like, oh, is that what the weird, like, mystery wrapped in an enigma wrapped in a skirt that's a little bit too tight stuff was about? Ew. Which culminates in a scene that I love for how unusual it is.
Look at me.
Should probably let them know you're talking to the dog.
Sorry, I was talking to the dog.
A scene that I love for how weird it is and how unique it is, but it also feels very... It feels like it undercuts what's going on. The scene when the 11th Doctor calls Clara.
You hate it?
I don't know how I feel about it. Like, as an idea, I think it's kind of unique.
Mm.
But do you know when that would have worked? If we'd had some kind of Caves of Androzani twin dilemma thing, where the next Doctor's first full story was in the same series as the previous one's last.
Yeah.
Like, if Hartnell had somehow gone back to communicate with Ben and Polly and let them know that that man is still him in Power of the Daleks, it would sit better, because you are, like, 3 stories into the series.
Yeah.
It feels very odd, especially because, as well, at the time, it had been 8 months since we last saw a Doctor Who episode. Like, Christmas to August. So,
yeah.
It's very odd.
That's
very odd. Oh, can you imagine there being that big of gaps between episodes of Doctor Who?
There never will be.
Meanwhile, everyone who lived through the 90s, you watched the 80s going, you babies don't know you're born. But anyway, yeah, I don't like that. It's weird seeing Smith one more time and it's him exhausted and on the verge of dying. It feels weird. Yeah. Especially after you reset him at the end of the last one to be like, soon. Here he is in his prime! Just so you get to see him as he is and then you remember him for a few minutes. And it's odd.
It's too soon. You didn't really need to do it. She just needed to book her ideas up and knuckle down.
Don't breathe is a lot of horse shit.
Yeah, exactly, because you've got to breathe.
No, but like,
you know what I mean?
The whole thing of setting up the idea of how do we know that, look, there's no wind thingy there's no wind direction in the air in this restaurant because no one's breathing. No one's exhaling. Like, it's not causing any disturbance in the air. It's just you and me. So then Clara masquerades as a clockwork person by not breathing. Except surely...
she's blinking and sweating.
Except she's blinking and sweating. They would surely know that she wasn't here before.
Yeah.
And also then she faints and wakes up being interrogated, tied to the chair. So it served no purpose. Narratively, she didn't get out of there. The only purpose it served was to be tense. That was it. To have a scene of tension. But don't breathe. Don't look away, don't turn your back, and don't breathe. Like, do you know what I mean? It's
I just realised that's why it's called Don't Breathe.
It's not called, it's called Deep Breath.
Deep Breath, sorry.
Yeah. But like, but do you know what I mean? It's that thing of, right, we get it, don't blink. You can't just do the same with breath and assume it will work as effectively. Same with, you can't just go, here's some more clockwork droids. And then not have us go, okay, but where are they from then?
I've got to admit, though, I did do that annoying thing where you hold your breath. It's like, damn it!
While you're watching it? Yeah. You dingus. But do you know what I mean with the clockwork droids? It was very like, okay, that's cool. So it's a return to the concept from Girl in the Fireplace. But, like, the point of that was the droids were left alone. The ship was screwed, and they tried to repair it the only way they knew how.
They weren't the same, were they? They weren't the same.
No.
Alright, good.
But it kind of was. Because remember, on the ship, they found like a portrait of another historical figure. And it was like, oh right, so it's a similar ship from the same time.
Excuse me.
And yet it's somehow buried under Victorian London, disguised as a restaurant. What? I know the villain in the Regeneration episode isn't necessarily the most important thing because it's about establishing the character. And especially the modern series where it's a 145 to 50 minute episode. Classic series, obviously, you can tell a whole story, so both things are as important.
Yeah.
But, like, the Autons are simple. You get the gist.
Yeah.
The Sycorax were simple. You get the gist. The Atraxi and Prisoner Zero was really simple. You get the gist. This, it's making you try to overthink what the monster's doing. And then the more you think about it, the more you're like, no, this doesn't make any sense. No, this doesn't make any sense. No, this doesn't make any sense. Like, the beauty of Girl in the Fireplace is that it was a mystery that unravelled over that 45 minutes. Mm-hmm. That even by the end, our characters didn't quite understand the extent of, and then they leave, and you, the audience, see the portrait on the wall and the name of the ship, and you go, oh, like that was the reason why they thought this was the way to fix everything.
Yeah.
That they'd gone. Basically, the robots had gone fruity, loopy nuts are we, and decided this was what we need to do. We need to use this energy to harness these time tunnels to go back there, find Madame de Pompadour. Mm. She will, and of course she wouldn't. Like at the moment they'd like use her heart or whatever or her brain to thingy the ship. It would still last as long as it was going to last with anybody. But this, it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
Especially because in this one, it's like, oh, it's clockwork droids disguising as people, using people body parts. Okay. Why? I have the shooting script, the pre-shooting script for this episode. I was given it as a gift. From the competition.
Okay.
There's like a thank you for taking part. My boss, my other job at the time, actually kept it from me and then gave it to me as a leaving gift. But I later found out that no, everybody who was involved in that thing received one, so they kept hold of it and then pretended they gave it to me. Yeah.
Words.
Yeah. But I've got it. The ending is different. And I've seen that this is mentioned online a few places now, so I'm not breaking an exclusive per se, but the ending has the Clockwork Man dying, arriving in the Promised Land, which is by a lake, and he's spoken to by a little girl called Missy, who welcomes him to heaven.
Okay.
I wonder if that was all part of the subterfuge for what was actually going on with the series arc, or whether or not he just initially, an earlier draft, he was going to have it be that this young girl or something to try and throw everyone off the scent a bit more as to what it could be. Because midway through the series, when the character revealed that her name was Missy to someone, there were already theories online that this is the Master.
Yeah. Well, I was just thinking about it then.
Did my boyfriend push you or did you jump? Oh, it was like, what?
No, it's a point I'll bring up later because it doesn't make sense.
It's stuff to talk,
yeah, I love Michelle Gomez.
Yeah, you didn't at the time.
I didn't really.
Because of Missy was your first exposure to her. Since you've gotten into the chilling adventures of Sabrina.
I nearly said Spider-Man. Oh, what is wrong with me today?
I don't know.
Chilling Adventures of
I
Spider-Man.
know we're trying to keep this like snappy or we're failing miserably.
So I'm more excited about it now.
Okay.
Even though I know
because of the actor,
shit, but,
essentially.
I just like her.
Any other notes on this episode before we forget?
Yes, okay. You ready?
Yes.
Dinosaur laid egg out of its mouth, which is what people thought the TARDIS was. When it spat the TARDIS out. Projectile babies. Could they really have been killed off so easily? 5 minutes in, flirting joke. Pissed off.
Yeah, oh god, Vastra and Jenny, there's so... This is the episode where nearly every other line of dialogue from Jenny is, we're married.
Yeah.
It's like, that's
we're two
weird.
women that are married.
Like, that's weird.
Yes, we know.
We know that. We know that because we're normal human beings and go, yeah, you've mentioned that and we've logged that information into our brain.
That's great. Can we move on to the story?
Just because you're horny on Main Moffat and you want to keep reminding yourself of, I've got
Put it away!
a lesbian couple married in the show.
Stephen, will you please put it away?
Oh, the entire veil sequence is ridiculous. Vastra's had some lovely sort of... The whole thing of, like, you when you stop seeing the veil, like, all that stuff, it was like, I never, you was there because you saw it. And it's like...
Oh, I like that Vastra was pissed off that Clara didn't...
Because I was too, yeah. But then the whole, like, metaphor and everything was just like, this is weird.
There's so many things going on. Okay, right. Cloister bell rings once when the Doctor faints the first time, and it's like, what?
What's happening?
Why does it ring once?
Why is it ringing at all?
Yeah, it's never mentioned.
The cloister bell's not spider sense. It goes off when there's something catastrophically going on with, like, time or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, or maybe it was just the oven. Vastra uses a Brigadier quote. I'll let you off this once. I can't remember what the quote was.
Oh, here we go again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll let you off because I love Vastra. I hate the intro.
You hate the titles, don't you? Look at the cogs, look at the clocks, diggity-ding, diggity-bing.
I wrote... Script has no flow, as bad as Moffat's afro. What is the matter?
I don't know what that is.
I just think I'm so funny. I like the music. I just wrote in capitals, what is happening?
Jesus.
Why was the dinosaur not a priority, getting it home, comforting it? And that was before I realised that they'd set like a perimeter thing around it so it couldn't cause havoc. But
my lady friend! That was the flirting you've noted. The Doctor flirting with the dinosaur.
So random. But, like, why is it not a focus of getting the dinosaur home? Because it's freaking everybody out.
And then it dies because it's killed off because they were going to use it for parts.
By fire! That's horrific. Anyway. How did Clara get in that dress and do her hair on her own? The most unrealistic thing in this show.
Yeah.
And that's the end.
Also, before we segue into the next episode, Ben Wheatley is a fantastic director. But this episode was not it, Chief. I think the direction and the editing of Deep Breath is appalling.
Yeah. Oh, that
it's really
cartoon
bad.
Noise of Clara getting hit in the... Oh, no!
No, Clara getting hit in the face with the newspaper is kind of hilarious because it's like, this does not belong here at all. But as people who were annoyed by that character a lot of the time, this is funny. It's when Vastra, like, psychically knocks out the Doctor and it goes... Dong! It's like, what?
Why?
Oh, awful.
So dumb.
Awful. This episode is not it, Chief. This is one of my least favourite. It's like this, the Twin Dilemma, Mark of the Rani, Time in the Rani. It's kind of like these three where you're just like, what is this? Why is this the opening story for the Doctor? Oh, Castrovalva, but that's a personal one. I just think, what's going to happen? Oh, the Doctor's going to sit around in a big pill sleeping for 4 episodes. It's really boring. While Adric gets a boner in his giant web. And the Master uses that cherry picker he's really proud of. But you know what I mean? Like, Power of the Daleks, Spearhead from Space especially, Robot, the TV movie, Rose, the Christmas Invasion, the 11th Hour, they're all really fun, simple stories.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, this is just... The more you think about it... But hang on, so people have been spontaneously combusting all over London, and that's part of the mystery. Are we going to see that? No. What was the point, then? And the first acknowledgement of, who frowned me this face? Which won't get answered until the middle of next series. Randomly.
At least it gets answered, though. But, I'm getting... This is not good, because I love history. Historical... Victorian era is so friggin' fascinating. I cannot get enough of it, but I am getting a bit of Victorian times fatigue.
You know the reason why there's so many costume dramas and Victorian era things made for British TV, including Doctor Who in the modern era doing a lot of Victorian set stories. You know why?
Yeah.
You know why?
Go on.
Because the filming locations are still intact. Because of places like English Heritage National Trust and everything.
Cobbled streets.
And there are hundreds of thousands of costumes available at any given time. Yeah. That's the only reason why. For those who didn't realise, that's why. That's why all the historical dramas...
it's really obvious now you've said it.
That's why all the historical dramas are set around that period. Because those things have been preserved in real life to go and see and visit and stuff. Mad that, isn't it?
Real made.
Ben Wheatley, like I say, is a good director. Deep Breath's got so many bad choices. He does a much better job, I think, in Into the Dalek. This is a very slick-looking episode, and I think its balance of stuff works a lot better. I think the script is helped by it being co-written by Phil Ford of Sarah Jane Adventures and Wizards vs. Aliens fame. Lovely Phil. He's a lovely man.
Is he lovely?
He's genuinely, absolutely adorable. He's a proper sweetheart. First time I met him, I think it was for Wizards vs. Aliens Series 1 screener. And he rocked up and he was like, I don't really know how to get dressed up, so I thought this would do. He was just wearing smart jeans, nice boots, a blazer, and the Alex Ross Joker and Harley ballroom picture on a t-shirt. I was just like, you massive nerd. You're good people.
What a picture, though.
It's a great picture. Yeah, so I think Phil Ford's main contributions to this were the domestic scenes, because the best scenes in this story are the ones establishing Danny Pink and Clara's life at school. At the beginning, and those little bits of it that appear throughout the episode. They're the best scenes in the story. Because Jenna Coleman and Samuel Anderson bounce off of each other very well.
Yeah.
And it develops over the course of the series, but at this point it's more the fact that they're just starting to talk. And there's an awkwardness and everything. I really like the Danny Pink and Clara stuff in this episode. It's nice.
Yeah, it is.
It's
cute,
cool.
But it's awkward and relatable. Well, not completely relatable.
Gonna go for those drinks then? Yeah, you got changed. Yeah. So to get changed, it's like she's obviously been away and come back and everything. It's like that's funny. I don't hate the idea of this time. It's not that Clara is just like, pick me up next week. The doctor and her went off to get coffee. He apparently vanished. She had no idea where he was. She had to get a train home. And then a few weeks later he shows up with the coffee. It's like, okay, that's emblematic of him being in this weirdly fragile state.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny. But this is where they really set up the idea that he constantly insults her appearance.
Yeah.
And not everyone. Her.
Yeah.
Just her.
Doesn't make sense.
And he doesn't do it in a way where he's being mean. He's doing it as though he doesn't understand that the observations he's making are nasty.
It's almost like they're trying to set it up so it's the complete opposite of what she had with Matt Smith.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Doesn't quite work. We also get our first appearance of Mr. Armitage, which is the headmaster of the school, which is significant massively because he's one of the few characters to spin out of Doctor Who into the spin-offs at this point in the show's history, which we'll get to.
Is it what I think it is?
Yeah.
We won't get to it because Lucy refuses to watch it.
I'm sorry, but we will. Also, our mate Michelle's in this. Michelle Morris plays the secretary at the school.
Holy!
Yeah. You had no idea that was happening.
I was not expecting it, and I was like, what? Huh? Wait, what? Brain does not compute.
She started talking to you, and you went, wait. I was like, yeah, that's Michelle.
Bizarre.
Michelle's a fantastic actor who I've done Easter shows with and Christmas pantos with. She's bloody brilliant.
She's very lovely.
She's proper lovely. So that was a nice surprise to see her. Flirting with Danny Pink. And, yeah, let's get into the meat of the story. Journey Blue, played by Zora Ashton. I wish we got to know her more because she has a tragedy immediately when her brother or sister are killed.
Yeah, brother.
Was killed. And then immediately she's basically just like obviously in a horrid place but carrying on with the mission. And it's like, that's fine. But it means that she's very one note for the whole story. You know what I mean? Like once it becomes the Doctor and Clara dealing with everything, Journey's just kind of there to be angry and that's it.
Yeah.
This very much feels like a setup where the companion shouldn't have been in the story. Like maybe this is one where it's just a Doctor story. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it can help her kind of process her grief through everything. Yeah, like that's an odd one.
I just think
Ben Wheatley. Oh, go on.
it's just a weird episode.
Ben Wheatley staple, Michael Smiley, kind of underutilized as Colonel Morgan Blue, uncle I think she calls him.
I don't even remember.
Well, he's Michael Smiley, Irish actor. If I show you a picture of him, you'll instantly know what I'm talking about.
That looks like Steve Carell.
Well, that's a weird picture of Michael Smiley, to be fair.
Oh no, I just remembered.
Yes.
The guy who is the Reverend.
The Reverend Green.
Reverend Green in
the pot dealer
World's End.
in World's End. Yes, there you go. There's your frame of reference. There are all the spaced fans out there going like, really, that's it? But yes, no, the Reverend Green. Thanks a bunch. He's kind of underused here. I think he's in it because it's a Ben Wheatley directed episode. It'd be like if Johnny Depp Tim Burton directed an episode. It'd be like, can I get Johnny Depp in it somewhere? Like it's one of those kind of jobs.
Right.
But it's like, yeah, but could you saved a better role for him? He's a very good character actor, and he's just kind of playing grumpy sergeant here. We're in the middle of a Dalek conflict somewhere in the outer reaches of a different galaxy. Does it say when? When in time? I don't know if it does. No, but the ship's called the Aristotle, and they've managed to get hold of a Dalek that it wants to kill the others. So they miniaturize, and I think the way that's all shot and edited looks great.
Yeah.
Where they get miniaturized. They're miniaturized to go inside the Dalek to basically see if it's a defect in its like technology or if it's unwell. Like what is this?
Yeah.
Because and the Doctor becomes fascinated with the idea of like this is a Dalek that wants to kill the other ones. Is it one that has a moral compass and has seen the atrocities they've done? I have to know.
And he knows it's not one of those Daleks that's going,
I am your soldier.
I am your soldier.
Yeah.
Yes.
I am your servant. Like, yeah.
Extermination is bad.
Very good.
Thank you.
But they tie it into this weird theme that begins in this episode out the hell of nowhere of whether or not the Doctor's actually a good person. For some reason, he's having these doubts that if he's a good person or not. And they tie it into, like... into this... he picks up Clara. You have the infamous... Clara, good my pal, tell me. Am I a good man? And then... like, it would make more sense thematically if this episode was later in the series and we'd already seen him tangle with his own morality.
Yeah.
Because then you could, as a viewer, go, oh, he's about to meet, like, the definitive evil and one of them's behaving differently and this is a way for him to kind of process, like, is change possible? Like, you know. Because, like, you could say, well, you know, last week after he pushed the clockwork guy out of the tower, maybe he's, like, wondering about it, but it's like, did he?
But did he?
They left it open-ended. So, very strange. So... we learn that there's a radiation leak in the Dalek's casing somewhere that has basically detached it from its usual settings and made it kind of see sense in this one moment.
Right.
And then they repair it and he stops. Like, he immediately goes back to like, oh, the systems are all working. Oh, I've got all the nutrients and all the chemicals and stuff that I normally need. Fantastic. I hate everyone now. And then the Doctor kind of talks it round to focus on those feelings it had in that moment and focus on them and like really think about it, and they have like a psychic link up and whatever, and it doesn't work, but the Dalek sees that the Doctor is full of hatred and hates the Daleks, and it focuses on that instead, so he effectively turns it not into a good Dalek but a Dalek killing Dalek by accident. So essentially the Doctor being a violent, hateful POS turns the Dalek into an anti-Dalek. It's... its message is so muddled.
I don't think I like Doctor Who anymore.
And what makes it annoying is like that incredible moment. H. Bomber Guy did a wonderful video, whether you like the work of Stephen Moffat or not. And again, there's a lot of Stephen Moffat's work that I've really enjoyed.
This is one of Christopher's favourite videos.
It's incredible. It's perfect media analysis.
You can bring it up with so many different...
It's perfect media analysis. H. Bomber Guy makes a video called Sherlock is Garbage and Here's Why. And it's on YouTube. It's about an hour and a half long.
Hello.
It's brilliantly put together. And in it, he references this moment. The bit at the end where it just turns back to the Doctor and it goes, you are a good Dalek. And it drives away, and it's meant to make you be like...
It drives away, sorry.
You know what I mean? But it's meant to... Well, it is. It's an alien in a tank.
I know. Just
but it...
in a car. I'm sorry. Please carry on.
Use your indicator, you pillock. Bikes shouldn't be allowed on the road. Oh, tick, 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 tick. Amazing. But, you know, as it does that, it says, like, you are a good Dalek, and just walks away. And it's the way the moment hangs is it's meant to have you, the viewer, be like, oh. It gives you nothing. And yet the moment it's clearly trying to hark back to, from Robert Shearman's Dalek from 2005, is so powerful.
Yeah.
Like, rid the universe of your filth, why don't you just die? The Doctor says, screaming at the monitor, and the Dalek there in that room that's just murdered everyone in that room looks at the camera and just goes, you would make a good Dalek.
And then it's like...
and then the camera just turns off and you go, oh shoot. And thematically in that episode, it all makes sense. The way that it's set up, the way that it's paid off, what's it turning you into, like all that stuff.
Yeah.
Phenomenal. Like, and that is a... No. And also that episode's about a good Dalek, in that the DNA thing with Rose to like reawaken it starts to affect it, and it begins to have like doubts and anxieties around what its entire philosophy is. So it does what it's used to. It goes out killing everybody and trying to kill its way out of the base. But by the time it's like got the opportunity to kill Rose and it doesn't, and you know all that, it's like, what's happening to me? And it in the sadness and tragedy of that is that Dalek is like, this isn't what I should be like. Kill me. Like, and it self-destructs. In this, it's, oh no, all Daleks have the potential to be good if they're just unhooked from their armour, I guess. And it's like, what? This is a trend Moffat will continue, of trying to recontextualise the mechanics of the Daleks in a way that actually makes them less frightening and more tragic, but in a way that then recontextualises everything they've ever done before this as being misunderstood.
Oh,
and it's like,
God.
Nope. More egregious next series when he tackles that subject whilst also featuring the creator of the Daleks in a story. Anyway.
Dave Ross.
Yeah. Dave Rose.
I just made myself laugh. Do you want to take my notes?
Yeah, I mean, just real quick, stuff I like.
Okay.
I like the idea of the Dalek armour having antibodies.
Yeah, that's quite fun.
That's kind of cool. A little too soon after Series 6 and the Tesselector. You will feel a tingling sensation, and then you will die.
I don't know.
We apologise for the inconvenience.
That's quite a long time ago.
Yeah, but, like, it was the same thing. It was a robot with antibodies.
Oh, I know what you mean. Sorry.
The flowy things with the little plastic tendrils doing
sorry,
that.
I thought you said the Tesseractor.
What's that? The Tesselector.
Yeah, I thought you meant the...
What's the Tesseractor?
Oh, the
Is that what you drive on farms to plough the crops?
I'm going to retreat into my own self now, because I've gotten it wrong. La
Oh,
la 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 la.
Wins.
There's ones that went to Eden that have got their faces in robots.
What?
At the end of time.
Eden?
You know, they go to paradise or something on that big rocket, and the master turns them into...
Utopia?
Yeah.
Oh, you're thinking of the Toclophane.
Toclophane. It's not even close. Idiot.
But yeah, we also get someone passing away in this. We get a soldier who's killed off, and they go to the afterlife and are met by Missy.
Yep.
So the threads being seeded now of people that they're interacting with are going to this place and to this person who seemingly knows the Doctor. That's seeded fairly well at this point.
Yep.
I'm up for that. Please tell me, sir, your notes. Da-da-da-da, da-da-da-da, da-da-da.
Dalek fatigue is real.
Yeah, you're bored of them.
So bored. I was bored a long time.
And I don't think, like, correct me if I'm wrong, nothing to do with the props, the way the props look.
No way.
The way Nick Briggs performs them.
No
way. All looking great. Rusty in this looks great. A Dalek covered in all these wires and crap stuck to it. It looks really cool.
It's just painfully obvious that they've got to keep putting them in because they'll lose the rights otherwise.
Yeah.
And I'm just bored of it.
That's
the end of my notes.
Is that it?
Yeah.
That's all you're on for this one?
Yeah.
Oh my god. Well, moving on from a Dalek episode to a kind of fun historical episode. Robot of Sherwood. I like this one.
Sorry, I just looked at my notes.
Do you know why I like this one?
Because
it's a very...
Is it fun?
It's a templatey episode. It feels like an idea that, in this case, Mark Gatiss had. That
was this by Mark Gatiss?
This is a Mark Gatto, yeah.
Mark Gatto.
This feels like an idea that Mark Gatiss had for years.
We love Mark Gatiss, don't we?
We're a fan of his ways. He's a lovely man.
We love you, Mark Gatto.
He's not watching. But do you know what I mean? Like, it feels like this was an idea he'd had for a Doctor episode for ages.
Yeah.
So it could fit any Doctor, any era. You can imagine any of the Doctors being sceptical of Robin Hood when they arrive, because they're like, wait, what? Because it's against everything they know.
Yeah.
Some Doctors more than others would warm to it a little more immediately, be like, okay, something I didn't know. Let's find out what's going on here. But Capaldi's Doctor perfectly suits the whole, like, no, this is BS. No, right, come on. Where's your battery pack? Like, who's paying you? Or who's paying you to pretend to be Robin Hood and all these things. And the fact that Tom Riley, one of the many guests in this episode who plays Robin Hood, goes for it. He goes for the cheesy archetype. He and his band of merry men feel like the versions of Robin Hood characters you would meet at, like, Chessington World of Adventures. Do you know what I mean? Like, if they had, like, a show at Camelot back in the day about Robin Hood, this is how they behave.
Yeah.
And it works perfectly because it is cheesy, but because the Doctor's the only one who's annoyed about it, you kind of buy into the cheesiness and enjoy how stupid it is.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, cheer up, Doctor, come on. And it's funny to watch him be annoyed by it all. Like when he's doing the tests on him and stuff, he realises, is it like Alan Dale or Will Scarlett or whoever's got like 6 months to live? And he just sort of states it outright, like, oh, okay.
And he's just like, what?
It's like, what the hell? Like, all that is brilliant, and...
And it is cute that Clara gets fangirly.
Yes! Right. I've still not hit Clara fatigue. Deep breath, big road bump. Big road bump. Deep breath. Hated Clara in Deep Breath. Liked her in Into the Dalek. Really liked her in this one.
I don't know where it is. I'm waiting for it. Where is
I know where it is for me.
Oh, okay.
I know where it is for me, and it's later this series.
It should have already been for me.
Deep Breath started it for me, and later this series is when it kicks in. But at this moment in time...
I just read my notes again.
At this moment in time, I like her fangirling, her dressing up to be part of the whole thing.
Again, how did she do her hair like that? It's redonkulous.
The impossible girl, because she can do her hair when no one's looking
Definitely.
into hairstyles that definitely require a makeup team.
Dead quick. And she can grow her hair, apparently.
I love that she fangirls. I love that she outmaneuvers the Sheriff of Nottingham to help make him reveal his plan by just, like, assuming what's already happened and talking about, yes, the lights in the sky, and you felt that they were the only one you'd spoken to, and they finally understood you. She's just basically BSing, going off of the maniacal people she's met on her travels already, and it works. Although she then shows her how much she's like, yeah, I was just joking, just wanted to hear your side of it all. It's a bit of a shame, because it's like, yeah, he's going to kill you now. He's going to kill you, so it was a terrible idea. But I like the way she manoeuvres that. You can see why she was cast, obviously her acting, but like you can see why she was cast in the ITV drama Victoria, because every time she's in period dress in this, it's like, she really suits that.
Yeah.
She looks good in period costume. So it's like, there you go, here's my audition reel for Victoria, it's just me and the snowmen, me and Robot of Sherwood. Can I be in your, bit of deep breath, can I be in your show? Yeah, right, Brilliant. The Sheriff of Nottingham, played by Ben Miller, is fine. I think he does an alright job.
It sends my body into confusion.
Why?
Because the Sheriff of Nottingham, for some reason, it's not for some reason, it's because of Alan Rickman.
Alan Rickman in Prince of Thieves?
I find that... right. There's a thing about me where I am automatically attracted to a villain.
Usually older guy villains as well.
Yeah.
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 I said something then, which I really shouldn't. And I don't know, I'm just automatically attracted to them. And Sheriff of Nottingham is one of them.
One of those archetypes because of Alan Rickman's version.
Because of Alan Rickman. Even in
Prince
Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yeah. Well, he is very good though, and he's a handsome guy.
Yeah. So handsome.
And
it just gives me like little...
He dared to kill a king's dare.
And the fact he can make me laugh is even better. Anyway,
you care for a date? How about next Thursday?
But in this, I'm like, no.
The sheriff's story's kind of...
I feel like I really want to fancy him, but I really don't.
The sheriff's story's kind of kiboshed in this because of the ending.
Why are you just like kiboshing my comments?
Because it's going to lead back to you fancying somebody in a Robin Hood thing.
Whoa.
It'll make sense. Because it's sort of a shame that the way... So, go look it up. I don't know the specifics too well. I'm going to give you a history lesson, but real-world events at the time that involved a beheading around the broadcast of this episode resulted in them changing how this episode ended. Apparently this episode originally ended with Robin beheading the sheriff during the fight and then revealing the sheriff had been converted into a robot as well. So this thing that crash landed here into the castle, that's 2 episodes within 3 episodes where a spaceship's disguised as a building.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty bad.
Yeah, it is.
It's only just hit me. The sheriff was no longer completely the sheriff. They'd started to convert him.
Yeah.
Now, I think it makes less sense that being what had happened to him based on his maniacal ambitions so far. Like, it'd be weird if that was a robot being like, yes, I'll do this, when the rest of the robots are just basically Power Rangers villains with armour design headpieces and lasers in their foreheads.
Yeah.
Like, it'd be weird that one of them was like, actually, no, I'm evil. Like, it just doesn't quite fit. But that was the original ending, and then the fight would have carried on, and then he would have fallen into the thingy or whatever. And they had to edit around it because they decided that around the time of the episode's broadcast, it was kind of in poor taste.
Just a bit insensitive.
Obviously, it was never intended to be a thing that went out a week of this, that, and the... You're not expecting there to be a story about a beheading in real life.
It's just the timing was just...
Yeah, but then they never restored it, so it's never been given its original ending again on home media release, streaming, nothing.
Sorry, can I just break...
That's
facade
right.
is that? Can you see that brown wall I was using?
No.
I can't find it. Anyway.
Break the facade. Wait, have you been pretending to watch the show?
Well,
Really?
well, sometimes it sounds like it, doesn't it?
But I don't hate the explanation
What the
of
hell is it?
this ship's apparently aware of Earth's history in the future, and when it arrives there, it starts to set up certain tropes. Like, you find out that maybe Robin Hood isn't Robin Hood, but it's all kind of BS. Except then the line's blurred and it's like, no, really, Robin Hood is real.
I didn't understand that. That was
The Doctor sees it and is like, aha! I knew it was all arse. I knew it was a lot of balls. All of this has been set up. Like, Robin Hood's either a robot or someone who's been conditioned to be like this, that the people have a hero to rally toward and all this, that and the other. It's all BS. Yeah?
Why is
And then
so
Robin
itchy?
Hood kind of reveals that, like, no, he is real.
Yeah.
The sheriff has kind of been bigged up a little bit by the robot plot and everything, but it's...
You could limit your...
But during that little montage of
the Doctor trying to prove to Robin Hood that...
different
it's
versions
not
of
real.
Robin Hood, which one flashed up that I paused to show you?
Can I find it, do you reckon?
Not right now, I'll do it afterwards, but you remember
Just
who
for my-
you remember who it is?
Personal use.
You remember who it is?
Paddy Trout.
Patrick Troughton. Young and handsome 1950s Patrick Troughton playing Robin Hood. And you got a little quiver in your bow, didn't you? Hey?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
Yes. Yes, I did.
It's like, look, so for those of you who we're talking about, the bit where the Doctor like cycles through some images of Robin Hood, you've got like an illustration, there's like Errol Flynn.
It's a bad picture.
Pause when it hits.
Out of the way, Doctor!
pause when it hits that one, because Patrick Troughton shows up for a second.
Delish.
Hey! Yeah, let's not be doing that. Read your notes, you cretin.
My notes.
Read your notes, you horny cretin.
Yes. I will.
You horny toad.
Clara looks cute, I wrote.
Yeah.
Robin Hood's persona made me cringe.
Did you warm to it as it went on, or did you?
Yeah, it's definitely one of them where you've got to get used to it to be able to accept it.
Especially when when the three of them are chained up in the dungeon, and like Robin's like optimism and pep and all that, versus the Doctor just being a nasty.
That's quite funny.
That whole scene is great.
Yeah,
and it's one of those we go,
oh
yeah. Mark was one of the League of Gentlemen. Of course, he can write these brilliantly comic moments where it's just here we let the characters be comedic.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like the music.
Mm-hmm.
I want to watch Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Yeah.
A royal...
Why should the people believe in you? Because, unlike most of the Robin Hoods, I speak with an English accent.
Oh, yeah. A royal tissue made me laugh because the sheriff gets spat in the...
And he takes out his royal tissue and dances.
And just a royal tissue just made me laugh. The sheriff has never lifted a bow in his life. In the
way Ben Miller holds it, yeah.
It's like, what are you aiming at? The floor. Robin clearly has.
Yeah, you can tell Tom Riley's done a bit of work to nail the posture and everything. Yeah.
Make sure when you sword fight, aim for the opponent's sword and not the body. Then it will look authentic.
Which bit was that?
When Robin is sword fighting with the
robot. The robots, yeah. The robots of Sherwood, yeah.
Poo jokes are always funny. Robin soiled himself.
Yes, that's brilliant. Yes, that is genuinely very funny.
And Paddy as Robin Hood makes my legs go jelly.
Weird. I like that at the end there's a little moment where Robin kind of is like, it's all about, he sort of notes that the Doctor is clearly as big a hero to Clara as Robin apparently is as well. And it's that whole it's the slight reaffirmation the story gives of you are a good person, or at least the stories people tell of you inspire them to be good. Do you know what I mean? It's like, okay, fine, all right. The moment between them where he sort of does the little fake laugh as well, talking about the pretense, ha ha ha, and you sort of go, all right, okay.
That's what makes me cringe.
All right. Yeah, but that's the point of this scene, isn't it? Is he's like, sometimes you've got to put it on because it makes other people feel better. It makes them do the right thing because they're inspired by what you do.
Because he misses Marion.
Yes, because we learned that Marion was actively part of a sort of rebellion. And then we realised the girl captured from the village earlier on is Marion. And it's like, that's kind of cool.
That's cool.
That's a little bit of something that's relying on you, the viewer, and the fact they know you know Robin Hood. It's one of those stories that everybody gets the basics of. They all get the basics of it. So it's a little reward for anyone watching going, where's Marion though? She's the only obvious piece that's missing. And it's like, guess what? She's been there the whole time and you watched her for several scenes without even realising it. It's like, that's cool.
One thing that does annoy me, at the end of this, it's not made obvious that Robin Hood isn't real. So,
yes.
Where?
The fact that he's there, he exists, he's real.
No, they don't make it clear that he's not real.
No, but what?
In real life.
Why would the Doctor just going to stop having the credits and look at the camera and go, "Hello, everyone"? Robin Hood wasn't actually. No, the show's establishing that in the world of the show, turns out he was.
Yeah, but the thing that annoys me about that is that.
Oh, how do people then not think?
But then
why wouldn't there be evidence to suggest that he is actually real?
Yeah, people are going to think that. Oh, he is real. Because
nothing really stuck around. Oh, so? That's like saying if they believe that, they're going to believe that a T-Rex showed up in the Thames once for a couple of days and then set on fire.
No, because throughout the whole episode, it's the Doctor trying to prove that he isn't real.
Yeah.
And then...
By the end, it turns out he actually is.
He actually is real. And that, in my head, would make people think, oh, so he was real.
Well, the suggestion is, to you in the real world, maybe he was. The story's more important than the man.
Okay, fair enough.
And what have you just watched? A 45-minute long episode of a science fiction program.
Yes.
It's not. We're not in the Hartnell era. They don't have to be. Well, to be fair, they were never completely historically accurate because everyone was white.
No, they weren't. They certainly weren't. Good grief.
So, listen.
What?
No, listen. I want to talk about listen.
Deliberate and listen.
Oh God, you're not very good at the who's on stage thing, are you?
No.
We're gonna have words.
Eh?
Never mind. The 4th episode is called
Were you
Listen.
making a joke?
And it's, yeah,
What was the joke?
Oh my God.
What was the
Who's
joke?
on stage? I don't know. No, the who's on stage? Never mind. See, now I'm referencing the Animaniacs version and not even the original. The
Am I
point
supposed to know what you're talking about?
doesn't matter.
Because I don't.
Let's keep this concise, please.
Sounds-
Oh God.
Sounds bad.
Sounds be awesome. This video's already over an hour. So...
Well, I've just got Stupendium in my head, so let's just go.
Good Lord. Listen! Directed by Douglas McKinnon. Written by Stephen Moffat. The hell happens in this one? I don't flaming know.
I don't know.
So the whole point of this episode was to set up the notion of your life taking a specific direction based on an obsession. Whilst also playing on the idea that we all kind of fear that there's someone else in the room with us at any given time. And those little moments where you walk through doorways and forget why you came into the room or whatever is maybe you kind of just being tripped a little bit by something that's going on around you. Like you go back and you're like, I'm sure I left my keys there.
Yeah.
And they're not there. The problem with the premise of the monster for this, and the premise of the threat, which isn't ultimately the point of the episode by the end of it, is that Moffat's done it before. It was called The Silence.
Yeah.
The Silence were the monster depiction of
You've always
forgetting why you did something, or walking in a room and forgetting something, or feeling like there's someone around you at
feel
any
like you're
one
being
time.
watched. Yeah.
He's also done that elsewhere in plenty of places, like the clock ticking from under the bed in The Girl in the Fireplace, and the whole concept of the Weeping Angels. There's always something around you that's alive and watching you, and like the shadows can eat you. Like
I think he's tried to.
He's had some great ideas.
Yeah, he's tried to take something that everybody fears at some point in their life and turn it into, something relatable.
Like the Buffy style,
But
the allegory for being a teenager turned into a monster.
Yeah.
The problem is, they're all the same.
same.
They're all the same ones. Well, I wanted to do a story about where does that extra sock go when you put on a wash and you can't find the
I had a
extra sock.
nightmare that Dracula chased me and then bit me on the knee. Why is that story?
Yeah, come on, Stephen.
Come on, Stephen.
There isn't a monster in this. The scene in young Danny Pink's bedroom, little Rupert Pink, as we learn he's actually called.
Rupert, I love that name.
Rupert Pink.
If we have a baby, can we call it Rupert?
Nope. The scene in Rupert Pink's room, you can assume that maybe it was just another kid messing with them, hiding under the duvet. Because it's left ambiguous enough that you could assume that's actually what it was.
Except
If it weren't for the fact that it's got a really blurred, creepy CGI face in that one shot where you can see it behind him. And it's like, maybe that's just what he's imagining, but it's like, no, that's what we, the viewer, are seeing.
Yeah.
So that's just a random monster? Okay.
then that's the end of that chapter.
The thing banging on the door at the end of time, like, again, the Doctor doesn't see what it is, and that's fine. Because that's kind of part of it. It's like him seeing it, we're going to... whatever, but then, like, we realise all of it is just because Clara was hiding under the bed of a young Doctor, or what obviously retroactively we can assume is a young version of one of the incarnations of the Doctor, but whatever. It's as far as the canon of the show is concerned at this moment in time, it's Hartnell as a boy. Apparently with no parents. Apparently being raised at a barn with other orphaned Gallifreyans, other Tribogans.
I don't know why I laughed at that.
Yeah, that was weird. Wow.
Oh no, it's the phrase that we raised at a barn, and the Doctor can go,
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
yes I was.
Yeah, that's why he laughed.
Ha ha!
Evil. Robin Hood. Ha ha ha! Orphans! Jesus.
Well, that was a stupid laugh. Sorry.
The others want to go to the academy or be they want to go to be soldiers apparently, but he doesn't want to, and he cries every night. And and then Clara's under the bed, and she grabs his ankle, and that inadvertently starts this whole thing of the Doctor being terrified of the monster under the bed, but also the episode realising the idea that everybody's had that nightmare at some point. And it's like, so, what? So does that mean Clara's been under everyone's bed? Or does that mean that, like, the Doctor having that nightmare is the reason why It's very unclear. The point of this episode ultimately is an emotional one. It's about the idea of obsession and the ideas of... no, that's it. That's all I can get out of it. What ultimately does this change in the Doctor? What character progression does he make in this episode? He doesn't. Because he doesn't even realise what's happened by the end of it.
He seems like more of a psychopath.
And yet at the beginning, where he's doing his monologue, which is kind of... I like that introductory scene where he's just walking around basically doing this lecture to no one. Which next series, they change up by having him deliver it down the barrel to camera. In Before the Flood.
Oh, is this the monologue that everybody talks about?
No.
Oh.
No. There's a scene next series where he explains the grandfather paradox, or the bootstrap paradox, and he explains it to camera, and it's pre-credits. It's a complete fourth wall break. And it works because it's setting up a premise, and it makes you realise the show could just do this stuff if it wanted. Like, nothing's stopping it from doing it. It could just, for a narrative reason, do it.
Yeah.
Like, but, Merry Christmas to all of you at home. But, like here it's sort of whatever. It's him just... No, damn it! Oh, we can't retake it. We've got to unpack. I'm so glad he did it though. Screw it. He knew that it would make the kids happy. He knew that it would make the kids really excited watching that episode because the Doctor has just wished them a Merry Christmas through the telly.
Made me happy.
Good on
him.
Watched it. He was a very flawed, deeply flawed man, but that was a lovely little thing for him to do. The Doctor's giving this lecture to no one, and it ending with him going back to pick up the piece of chalk, and it's not there anymore, is great. It's a great eerie setting for the episode. Follow-up question. Who moved the chalk?
Yeah. Because surely if there was something in there, the TARDIS would have...
So if there isn't these monsters on the peripheral, who moved the chalk? Who was hiding in Rupert Pink's bedroom? And then you set up the idea that the only reason Danny's called Danny and the only reason he becomes a soldier is because Clara gave him the box of soldiers to protect him from monsters under the bed, and the main one who didn't have a gun because, oh look, he's got a walkie, he doesn't have a gun because his weapons are words and he solves things with words, and that makes him braver than everyone else. It's obviously the Doctor. We get it. We get the allegory, Stephen. We get it. We get it. We get it. The only reason he becomes a soldier is because Clara kind of puts the idea in his head. A soldier who we learn through this episode, or at least it's not been outright said yet, but it's been implied enough by this point, killed a kid by accident during active duty.
Awkward.
So Moffat's essentially saying that Clara in this episode is responsible for the Doctor's extreme paranoia, for all of his life.
Mm-hmm.
And Danny going down the path that led to him killing a kid.
Meh.
I understand that this episode's more of a mood board. It's more of a you put it on and experience it, and that's kind of how you should take it in. But in terms of everyone's development, it's just a mess. And I don't understand. Do you want to know something really weird? This one is cited as one of the best of the modern show.
Really?
Yeah, and I've never understood that.
Wow.
Ever. I have never understood it.
Doesn't say a lot for the modern series.
The best thing about it are the restaurant scenes.
Yeah.
The date between Clara and Danny is brilliant.
Really good.
And it's so oh, this is
so
awkward.
Uncomfortable.
Oh, it's lovely. Oh, it's great. Oh, she's headed off. Oh, where's this going? Oh, no. Oh, it's fine. Ha. Oh, God, she just dropped his real name. Oh, my God. And of course, he's been a soldier. He's aware of the idea of people looking into him and everything. He's paranoid. And, oh, my God, this is so deeply uncomfortable. And then, yeah,
there's no way of getting out of that.
No. And the way Coleman and Anderson play it is superb in that scene. It's so upsetting. But then it's kind of undercut by the idea of, don't worry, it works out because they've got a great-great-grandkid who, for some reason, even though he's only 2 generations removed, is at the end of the world in this base. And he looks exactly the same as Danny. And spoilers for episodes after this one, he can't exist.
No, he can't.
So
what happened there?
Oh my god. Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense.
I really don't like Listen.
No,
and I don't get why it's so celebrated.
I definitely switched off.
I
was not.
There's some incredible ideas in it. You know what I mean?
Just went over my joke.
Sorry, was I not Listen thing?
No.
Okay. Yes, I'm sleeping on the couch tonight. You, because you've got a bad back. But,
so I have to sleep on the couch?
Yes.
That makes no sense.
Yeah, because when you want to go to bed, all you got to do is lean to the side.
Lean to the side.
Lean to the side.
Lean to the side.
The idea of something, like, that nothing else exists anymore, but every night something knocks at the door, that's a great idea. That's Twilight Zone. That's a Twilight Zone story.
Yeah.
That's a self-contained Doctor Who story on its own.
I would hate that, to be fair. There's nothing in the universe.
Oh, well, you mean like it'd be scary?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I think you'd hate that as a concept. Like, you kidding me? If that was a bottle episode of Doctor Who, that'd be amazing.
No, that would actually drive me mad. Like, legit.
If it was you.
Insane mad. Yeah.
Okay. But I mean, as an episode.
Would that not drive you mad?
Yeah, of course. But I'm talking about as an episode of television. That would be really cool to watch, right?
Yes.
It's very Twilight Zone. In fact, I'm not surprised. I'm in my ventures through that show's entire history, I'm surprised there's not been that exact premise yet. Samuel Anderson's great. The Clara scenes in the restaurant with Clara and Danny are great. The image of the Doctor at the very beginning, just sat cross-legged on top of the TARDIS floating in space, is a really interesting image.
Now that's a yoga retreat I would go to.
Dear Lord. I don't like it.
It doesn't make
and one
any
of these
sense.
days you'll come back to this barn. What? Why is that even relevant? We, the viewer, can sort of realise that, oh, it's probably the same barn from Day of the Doctor. That's up to the viewer to kind of spot and go, oh, yeah. Like her saying it and them showing clips of John Hurt. It's just like, what?
It's assuming that you're stupid or that you haven't seen it. And if you've not seen it, that's just going to make even less sense.
Here's where the seeds are starting to get sown of Clara as a function being annoying, though. Okay. This is now the third time in his life where she has made him make a major decision or has changed the outcome of his existence. So her being splintered in time throughout all of his lives is one, in Name of the Doctor.
Mm.
Her making the 11th Doctor reconsider the events of Day of the Doctor and leading to him, the 10th Doctor, joining the War Doctor and changing it all is another. I'm not saying like, oh, so she shouldn't have helped them find a better way. No, that's not what I'm saying. But like, twice now, she's done that. And here, she's affected his entire philosophy from when he was a kid.
Yeah. Because
of her grabbing his leg and then talking to him while he sleeps. If I was the baby Doctor at that moment in time, I'd be shitting bricks. I'd be like, there's a woman bent over the bed talking about that I'm going to come back to this barn and I'm going to go on adventures and what the hell's happening?
I'd have definitely had a wig on Clara.
God. Just checking. The fella who just came round then?
Yeah.
Is that next doors?
Yeah.
Like, right, it was a bit confusing.
They mustn't be in.
Yeah, bing, bing, ding. Anyway, what are your notes on this episode?
My notes.
Round us out with your notes on Listen.
My notes. Oh, there's that piece of wool I was looking for.
Jesus wept.
Lots happening.
Yeah.
What was that thing under the blanket? Pretty sure that blanket was crocheted.
God damn it.
Little Rupert was really cute.
He was a good actor. He was good. Let's give him his due. Remy Gooding did a really good job.
His name is Remy?
Yeah.
Oh, stop. That's adorable. And I wrote, the Doctor is very paranoid, but kind of adorable. I don't know why I wrote
His enthusiasm's fun to watch. Again, that opening monologue is really cool. I'll never get it. Series 8. Not the strongest start. What about you guys? Do you feel the opposite to us? We hope you do. We hope you had a ball with these stories.
Yeah, we hope somebody enjoys them.
Let us know down in the comments below. We'll be back And soon with the next 4 episodes, which are, I have to look them up. Hell are they called? Time Heist, yay. The Caretaker, kind of fun. Kill the Moon, oh no. And Mummy on the Orient Express.
The only one I can recall is The Mummy on the Orient Express.
We'll be back soon. Take care of yourselves. Goodbye, my dears.
Goodbye.
Oh, the dog fell over.
The dog's
Oh no.